Hello, this is Caesar, lecturer in English from NRK Academy. Now I would like to teach you a lesson from Junior Inter Prose. The name of the lesson is Lateral Thinking. The name of the lesson, Lateral Thinking, strikes a brilliant meaning: innovative thinking, non-linear thinking, or thinking newly. The name of the writer is Edward D. Bono, the chief propagandist of lateral thinking. The lesson starts like this. Many years ago, in a small Indian village, a farmer had the misfortune of owing a large sum of money to a village moneylender. So there was a village, there was a farmer, there was a moneylender, and the farmer borrows money from this cruel moneylender. The moneylender, who was old and ugly, fancied the farmer's beautiful daughter. So here, in this context, we observe this cruel moneylender fancying the beautiful daughter of the farmer. So he proposed a bargain. He brings out a clever deal with this farmer by understanding his poverty. He said he would forgo the farmer's debt if he could marry the farmer's daughter. If the farmer accepts cruel moneylender's proposal, he has to sacrifice his daughter's future by accepting the marriage proposal of this cruel moneylender. Both the farmer and his daughter were horrified by this proposal. Not only the farmer, but his daughter also got baffled by this cruel plan or proposal of this moneylender. So the cunning moneylender suggested that they let Providence decide the matter. There is no opportunity for the daughter and his daughter to decide this matter. There is no other go for them. So they left Providence decide this matter. When we do not have any other option, we believe in God. We accept the outcome dictated by God. He told them that he would put a black pebble and a white pebble into a bag. So the cruel moneylender's plan is like this. He brings a bag and he keeps two pebbles in it. One is black, one is white. If she takes the black pebble, she has to marry the cruel moneylender and the debt will be written off. If she takes the white pebble, she need not marry him, still the debt will be written off. If she refuses to take either of the pebbles, her father would be thrown into jail right away. This is the plan of the cruel moneylender. They were standing on a pebble-strewn path in the farmer's field. In the farmer's agricultural field, there was a path which was fully pebble-strewn, and the farmer took two white pebbles and kept them in the bag. The sharp-eyed farmer's daughter noticed his cruel action. She was baffled, she was horrified, and she could not imagine her future. And she failed to reveal this fact to his father also. She doesn't have any word to share, and she lost all her senses by looking at this wicked activity. Now imagine, if you are in her shoes, how would you handle this matter? It is a puzzle to all of us, and we will certainly enjoy how Edward D. Bono handles this puzzle. Shall we go into that? Okay, we will. This is what the girl actually did. The girl put her hand into the money bag and drew out a pebble. Without looking at it, she fumbled and let it fall onto the pebble-strewn path, where it immediately became lost among all the other pebbles. She dragged out a pebble. She didn't look at it. She dropped down into the pebble-strewn path and she was fumbling and she was expressing her deep sorrow for what she did to the cruel moneylender. Oh, how clumsy of me! Oh, how clumsy of me! How foolish I am! I disappointed you by not picking up the pebble properly. So how clumsy of me! She was expressing her sorry to the cruel moneylender. But never mind. If you look into the bag, for the one that is left, you will be able to tell which pebble I picked. If you see the pebble which is left over in the bag, you will be able to understand what pebble I have dropped into the pebble-strewn path. This is quite shocking to the moneylender. He never expected this. And he doesn't have a proper thought about how to handle this event. What does this story teach us? What do we understand by the story? When we are surrounded by difficult circumstances, we lose confidence, we lose faith in us. We don't have a thoughtful planning. We lose all faculty of thought. We get easily overwhelmed by fear. So, by looking at this beautiful example, we will come to know how lateral thinking saves an individual's life. If we go into the story once again, we will understand how she has handled this problem cleverly, deftly. We understand how thoughtful she is. So, the leftover pebble is the black one. So automatically, the pebble which was dropped into the pebble-strewn path is white in color. So she picked the white pebble, she saved her life, she saved her father from the death, and she cleverly escaped from the wicked thoughts of the moneylender. So this is a beautiful example to substantiate the greatness of lateral thinking. What is lateral thinking, my dear friends? We all think man is a thinking animal. Then what is lateral thinking? Lateral thinking is nothing but innovative thinking, thinking newly, seeing which is not existing, capable of understanding things which are not really existing. That is lateral thinking. Here we have one more example. A millionaire named Thomas walked into a popular bank in the middle of New York City and requested to speak to a loan officer. The second anecdote is like this. There is a millionaire by name Thomas in New York City. He went to a bank to meet a loan officer for a small loan. He did not inform the staff of his immense riches. He did not reveal the fact that he is a multimillionaire in New York City. So he went to the bank straightly. So he wanted to talk to a loan officer to obtain some small amount of loan. He requested the bank officer for $5,000. Immediately, as a banker, he asked for a bank guarantee. So immediately, he has shown him a brand new Ferrari car. So they accepted the bank guarantee and gave him $5,000. Thomas pointed out of the window to the shiny new Ferrari parked right in front of the bank. He took the title, paperwork and keys out of his pocket and slapped them on the counter like a man on a mission. So he was in a hurry to give him the keys of the car, the papers which are showcasing his ownership, and the brand new Ferrari car. The staff went to work checking out the validity of his ownership, and sure enough, everything checked out. And of course, which bank was going to turn down $250,000 in collateral for a measly $5,000 loan? Is there any foolish bank in the entire city of New York to lose this simple, measly bargain? That is $5,000. For $5,000, he is keeping a costly car. So which bank turns down this small loan request. No, no other bank in the entire vicinity of New York can do like that. Thomas left the bank with his $5,000, and the bank employee took Thomas' keys and drove the brand new Ferrari down into the bank's underground garage. He assured Thomas that it would be perfectly safe down here. Thomas then left the bank and caught his flight to his faraway land. So he took the money, he handed over the car, left the place, he went away to a faraway land. After 2 weeks, on one Monday, he came back to the bank. He gave $5,000 along with $15 as an interest to the taken money of $5,000. He went to the counter, he handed over the money, he took the keys, and the loan officer made a sarcasm at Thomas. Sir, when we were checking your car, we came to know that you are a multimillionaire in New York. As a multimillionaire, we wouldn't expect you that you wouldn't be having a measly amount of $5,000. Then we came to know that you are such a foolish man to keep this costly car as a bank guarantee. Then Thomas said, where would I find a safe place to keep my car without getting an iota of damage? I thought your bank is the safest place in the entire New York City to keep it safe for 2 weeks, that means a fortnight, 14 days, without a small scratch. Where would I find such a safe place in this city? I thought yours is the safest place. Then both of them shared a lighter vein of fun, and Thomas left the bank. So examples of lateral thinking abound in several fields. Now we have seen examples in real life. If we see the example of Thomas and the farmer's daughter, how lateral thinking is a beneficial factor in our daily life can be clearly witnessed. But coming to fields like cricket, we see how Kerry Packer changed the entire panorama of cricket. Kerry Packer introduced day and night matches and colorful balls and clothing, a departure from tradition that became so successful that the whole world of cricket adopted it. We see cricket in different shades. Cricket can be seen in 3 major streams: Tests, One-Dayers and 2020s. Kerry Packer modified and redefined traditional cricket. He brought out one-day cricket and even 2020s from Australia. Australia recently experimented with 2 different captains for the test and one-day matches. Nowadays, 2020 matches have become a rage. 2020s have become a great fashionable stream of cricket. So people have become maniacs about 2020 cricket. And he experimented with colorful balls. And when we see test cricket, we immediately remember a red ball being used. If you see one-dayers, a white ball is used. So similarly, even if you see Australians recently experimented a pink ball when playing against New Zealand very recently. So similarly, lateral thinking abounds in several fields apart from daily life. Lateral thinking expert Edward D. Bono says, with logic, you start out with certain ingredients, just as in chess, you start out with given pieces. But what are those pieces? In most real life situations, the pieces are not given. We just assume they are there. We assume certain perceptions, concepts, and boundaries. If you take the game chess, we play this game In between 64 pieces, white and black. We have a defense mechanism, we have an offense mechanism. So we operate these two mechanisms with great deftness, with great upmanship. But what about real life? In real life, there are no given pieces. We assume those pieces existing as if they are there. That is the major difference between the game chess and the situations of real life. How to handle those situations? If we have proper assumptions, proper conceptions, proper inceptions, we can overcome such hindrances quite easily without taking much risk, without risking ourselves in handling these poignant and difficult stratums of life. One is always confusing conditioned thinking with creative thinking. So what is conditioned thinking and what is creative thinking? Every person has a style of thinking. That style may not be perfect and efficient enough to save that individual from the bitter realities of life. Bono explains that lateral thinking is concerned not with playing with the existing pieces. The major concern of Bono is not playing with the existing pieces, playing with the pieces which are not exactly existing. Such people can become successful in life. The best example is Bill Gates. From India, if we see Dhirubhai Ambani, when there is no scope for success, we have to create opportunities which brings Godspeed in an individual's life. So here he brings out a good theme, a rightful format to master over different circumstances in our life. So he introduced a technique. He named this technique as 6 thinking hats. We see what they are. The most popular technique presented by Bono is 6 thinking hats, acting on the perception part, that doing different things at the same time which are difficult and confusing. An individual is accustomed to a particular style of thinking. We cannot adapt to a new style of thinking so easily. So how to hold mastery over it? Let us see what they are. We normally make use of one type of thinking at a given time. The hats denote the following. So, pertaining to an individual, he holds adherence to one style of thinking, whereas the rest of the approaches are turned down or properly may not be used in a successful approach. How to overcome this trouble? Each and every individual today must hold a proper grip over this technique. Then only in our social life, in our financial life, in our personal life also, we can be successful. A man in one field is not successful in several fields. What is the reason behind it? The reason is 6 thinking hats. The first hat is white hat. If you put on this hat, you must know facts and figures before opening up your tongue, before unlocking your mouth. Without knowing a fact, without knowing a proper figure, don't give half-hearted assumptions. Don't suggest any individual without having a proper knowledge about something. Red hat deals with emotions and intuition part of brain. So how to have emotional intelligence? How to have intuition power, self-learning. Intuition means learning. How to learn things by oneself. So this self-learning is very much needed for an individual's growth in this competitive society. There won't be a teacher for us to teach life. We are taught only lessons at school, but those lessons may not be enough for us to be successful in this competitive world. So how to hold that technique? Red hat teaches us how to own this ability. Black hat, power of judgment. When you judge things, it must be letter perfect. Without having that ability, we become losers so easily. Yellow hat, advantages and benefits. Whatever we do, we must have at least a small iota of benefit. When we talk to an individual, we must understand what he has in her or in his innermost stratums of thinking. So no one wants to reveal themselves. We must observe this. Green hat, explorations and alternatives. So today, modern man is facing a better phase of competition. Life has become a struggle. For everything there is an alternative. If we do not have an alternative, we explore for an alternative. What is that? How to obtain it? How to bring out explorations? How to handle alternatives timely? These things have to be eyed at. Blue hat, thinking about thinking. Whether my thinking is right or wrong, how far my thinking is sound. So, this can be called introspection and retrospection. So, 6 thinking hats hone one's personality cult and enriches the development of one's innermost personality. 6 thinking hats are very thought-provoking, and it stands as a refined example to shape one's innermost emotional intelligence as well as the psychological ability of an individual to face life in a strong manner. This approach makes life as a competitive one and shapes our competence and abilities. Hats are often used to denote the role one is playing, such as a baseball cap, soldier's helmet, and can be easily taken off and worn again. As per the demand of the situation, one can change these hats, and according to the given situation, one can act upon with great strength and immense power. This makes it a game where individuals are encouraged to contribute all kinds of ideas under diverse hats and diverse situations also. We have different situations, we have different circumstances which are challenging and which are highly baffling in our daily life. For certain issues, we may not have proper understanding as well to think of. Such difficult one is life. There are fierce arguments, bickerings, and even at times we see obstinacy in our thinking and approach to others. Bickering means a foolish quarrel, obstinacy, stubbornness, and arguments, fierce arguments, verbal combats, verbal fights. And these aspects, like argumenting with others, obstinacy, bickering, they shatter our human relations. Since man is a social animal, we have to have social relations to sustain in this society, because we can't live alone. This is the fact of life. For having good relations, we must have good communication, good approach to life, and a fine personality cult. Obstinacy disturbs our relationship with others. Bickering, quarrelsome nature ruins our relations, softness of relations. And finally, our nature depicts our psychology. It is easy to switch thinking without causing offense. By adapting all these methods, we become less offensive and we can protect others' emotional armor. The 6 thinking hats method works as well as everywhere and can also be used in family situations. In a family scenario, we have our elders, youngsters, and coevals, that means equals. We have to play the role of a son or a daughter, father or a mother, brother or a sister. So we have to be successful enough in playing all these roles, fulfilling our responsibilities, catering out others' needs, timely and properly. It is most fruitful advantage is that it forces you to think more broadly. One person who did so and became a stupendous success was Dhirubhai Ambani. Dhirubhai Ambani started his life as a common man. He didn't have fame when he made his start. After time passed by a certain amount, he became a stupendous success. He was a world famous business magnate. He paved way to all Reliance Industries and their sister concerns. So this is how a man of a normal living can become a global citizen. There is a beautiful example awaiting, and let us go into that. Lateral thinking can save an individual's life, and we will see how it comes into reality. There are 2 men who went for a safari. They were enjoying the joyful ride into the deep forest, and they were sitting. Suddenly, there was a furious tiger coming upon them. It was about to pounce upon them. They were awestruck. Both men were frightened, and one of them started wearing his shoes. They were shocked. And one of them started wearing his shoes. The other one said, "How is this going to help you? What made you wearing your shoes? And how does this help you to protect your life?" We can't outrun the tiger. Yes or no? Can we outrun a tiger? A tiger runs faster than a human being. Yes or no? So how does this help you? Can we outrun a tiger? It doesn't work practically. The first man replied, the person who was wearing the shoes replied, "I don't have to outrun the tiger. I have to outrun you. I may not have the ability to outrun a tiger. If I outrun you, I can save my life." So, this beautiful example elevates the greatness of lateral thinking. And if we have this ability of thinking in any given situation, in any given difficult scenario, a man can uplift himself, and it brings immense upsurgence in him and in his environs also. It is quite effective and can bring effective results. 3 beautiful examples: farmer's daughter, Thomas, a millionaire from New York City, and these 2 men who went for a safari, and the technique of 6 thinking hats. They enlighten us, and this lesson is quite delightful. As an individual, as a reader, I like the anecdote of the poor farmer. The cruel moneylender throws down 2 black pebbles against the pact which was made by him. The sharp-eyed farmer's daughter notices this conspiracy, this contriving act of the cruel moneylender. She couldn't open up. She drops down a pebble. Based on the drop down pebble, we have to assume the leftover one. Since the leftover one is black, automatically the dropped one is blah blah blah. So this is quite a thought-provoking lesson. As individuals, we can shape our mindset, we can condition our thinking, we can understand how traditional thinking shatters the power of thinking, which is blessed for all of us. God gave a sharp mind for all of us. So make use of it, and I wish this lesson would be quite helpful for all of you to build your character, to build your career, to hone your future according to your women fancy. Thank you.